morning and happy Thursday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday. I see some dooming going on in it. What are we doing? Why the pessimism? Well, you know, Dan and Cash said Epstein didn't kill him because the file said that. I thought we've done this already. Do we have to really leave you back in the third grade and have you learn this again? How ethics protocols work? Come on, guys. Goodness gracious. When you hold an official law enforcement position, you can't say things that don't exist in evidence. I didn't think this was that hard to understand. Apparently it is. Good thing is tomorrow is Friday. And so the brave souls that are dooming in the chat can give us a call tomorrow. And we can discuss this, you know, or you can continue to complain. That's it. That's all. That's just my favorite thing. Oh, nothing's being done. Oh, did you volunteer to work at the FBI? No. It's not my job. Yeah, you're right. Your job's to bitch on the keyboard. That's right. I've got a great interview today with a really amazing candidate running in Georgia's 14th congressional district. Now, when I want to let you know, when I recorded this interview with Jim Tully, Donald Trump had not made an endorsement yet. Now, Trump endorsed another candidate yesterday in Georgia. It's not Jim Tully. Whatever. It is what it is. You know, the president has the right to endorse whoever he'd like. That race is up to the people. There are some really good people surrounding Jim Tully in this race. You are going to love him. It's about a half hour long. I know sometimes guests, you know, the audience is like, the interview is too long. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be disrespectful to the guest either. He's running for office, right? So he's a great guy, though. I think you're going to love him. He's certainly one of us. Presents himself as such, and again is surrounded by some really great people. So we're going to get to that in just a second. That's the first half. Second half, we're going to have some clips from yesterday, some good news, some things that we need to work on. This Dignity Act that's being pushed in the House. They call it the Dignity Act. There's no dignity. It's an amnesty bill, and we're going to show you this very bad appearance that Mike Lawler had on Will Cain's show. I cannot stand this guy, and now he's trying to get, we gotta give some of those illegal aliens, you know, a path to legal status. Here's a path. You want to know what the path is? Get out of the country and reapply and come in the right way. There's the path. There's already a path. Why do we have to change the path? There's already a path. Unbelievable. All right, a quick word from our friends at OFP Farms, and then we're going to jump right into our interview with Jim Tully here in he's in Georgia, running in Georgia's 14th congressional district. OFPfarms.com. They are nestled in the scenic foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. OFP Farms is more than just a farm and embodies a tradition of quality and care, proudly operating since 2014. OFP Farms goats are lovingly raised. They love their goats, beautiful goats. They are lovingly raised, roaming open pastures and breathing fresh air, which ensures that the milk produced is of the highest standard. From their creamy goat milk soaps and moisturizers to their nourishing tallow-based balms, each product is thoughtfully crafted with your family's well-being in mind. They are committed to sustainable farming practices, providing natural and wholesome products that you can rely on. Now, whether you're in search of gentle skincare solutions or you simply want to indulge in the purity of farm fresh goods, OFP Farms warmly invites you to explore their website, ofpfarms.com, ofpfarms.com. Their mission, folks, their mission is to bring you a piece of their farm, bring it right into your home, okay? Nurturing your family with the finest that nature has to offer. Head over to ofpfarms.com. Use the promo code Sean, SHAWN, for 10% off of your entire order. That is ofpfarms.com, ofpfarms.com, Oscar Foxtrot, papafarms.com. Promo code SHAWN for 10% off of your entire order. That is ofpfarms.com, Oscar Foxtrot, papafarms.com. Folks, I want to, very excited to play for you this interview with Jim Tully. He is running in Georgia's 14th congressional district. There is a special election right around the corner. I admittedly dropped the ball in Texas Senate District 9, had no idea what was going on, but a couple of really good people who I trust a lot brought me this man's information, connected me with him. Jim Tully, running in Georgia's 14th congressional district. We are, I believe, 11 days away from the beginning of early voting in that Georgia primary to fill the vacant seat left by Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think this guy is a tremendous guy. I don't live in the district. I don't know anything about the alternatives. I know Trump endorsed somebody else. That doesn't matter. If you like him, if you live in Georgia's 14th district, Jim Tully for Georgia, all spelled out. You'll see it rotating on the lower third as well. I hope you enjoy this interview. We'll catch you back here in 30 minutes. All right, everybody. I told you we have a really interesting guest coming in here. Very important race that's going to be run very, very soon. You all know there is a vacancy in the United States House that was left on January 5th. You know exactly who I'm speaking about and which vacancy this is that we're going to be addressing. Georgia's 14th congressional district that was once headed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Obviously, she resigned from Congress. That seat is now wide open, and there's going to be a highly contested race to replace her and to be the newest congressional representative out of Georgia's congressional district, the 14th congressional district. I'm bringing on here, we have Jim Tully, who is running to be the next congressman out of Georgia's 14th congressional district. Jim, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Sean. Thank you so much for having me. We're just excited to be in the thick of this. The mighty 14th Georgia congressional district, the people that live here, they are eager to get this race behind them and get representation in Washington.
So obviously there's a vacancy, there's an opening, you're running to fill it. I know there's a lot of I've seen a lot of people declare, I think we spoke about it, a lot of people are jumping into this race, as one would expect. You know, it's a wide open race, everyone's going to kind of give it their best shot. But is this something that really you think is stressing out voters in the district because of what's at stake here?
Oh, by all means. Voters are fatigued to begin with just regular elections that we were facing before all this happened. When the resignation was announced, before this happened, we were facing a huge statewide midterm. Governor, Secretary of State, Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, the whole gamut in Georgia. So they were very concerned and preparing for that November election. And then, lo and behold, I equate this to the anvil falling on Wile E. Coyote's head. We all of a sudden have this empty congressional seat to contend with too. So yeah, it's very concerning to a lot of people in the state.
And what would you say in Georgia's 14th congressional district is one of the biggest issues that you see voters talking about, right? I mean, every district is different. I used to live on Long Island. I now live in Tennessee. There are different issues in both of the congressional districts that I live in. Even, you know, we lived in Tennessee for almost 3 years now, about 3 years, our third year now. And even district to district that we lived in here, things change. We were up in Nashville at one point, then we were down, you know, a little bit further south. Now we have our home in Murfreesboro. Things are different in this congressional district. So yeah. What are the most important things that, you know, if you're talking to voters out there that they're telling you means the most to them, and how will you address those needs and address that in Congress as their representative?
Well, in Northwest Georgia, it's predominantly rural. The southern part of the district gets very close to Atlanta. We're probably 30 miles outside of downtown Atlanta, so it's more an urban environment down in the south. But up north, it's family farms and agriculture and of course Dalton area with the carpet capital of the world. So there's a lot of manufacturing up there. So folks are very concerned with affordability and jobs and the ability to raise a family, maintain that family structure, and stay in what most people would describe as their home place, to raise a family, put down roots, and be part of the community. That's the main thing that Northwest Georgia is concerned with, is how they can raise a family and afford to live there, education, jobs, all the basics. We're just very, very basic district with the people that live here.
So you become, let's say, hypothetically, all things go well for you, and you become the next representative out of Georgia's 14th congressional district. You're in Washington, D.C. You mentioned affordability. That's a word that a lot of people have been throwing around, right? Obviously, everybody wants things to be more affordable, and there's a couple of ways that can happen. You don't want to necessarily see deflation. What you want to do is see wages pick people
Correct.
up and outpace inflation, right? So what would be some of the best ways necessarily to address that affordability crisis specifically for Georgia's 14th congressional district. You look at like a one-size-fits-all approach. People want to look at that for the entire country. You can't do that. That's why we have representatives for each congressional district, because every district is different. Just like in school, every student is different, and you can't just do, boom, blanket, common core, right? Every student learns different. Just like, in health and fitness, diets and everything. Everybody's different. Every district is different. So what would be the best way, as a representative of Georgia's 14th congressional district, to address the affordability issue in that district?
Well, it would be to open up the ability for manufacturing to flourish. So there are some government regulations. There's some energy crisis issues that don't allow our manufacturing to flourish like it should. President Trump and some tariffs to kind of slow down some imported material issues. The American industrial complex, if you will, American manufacturing is very good at what they do. And if allowed to flourish and be the best, that brings jobs back to our communities, where we're buying goods manufactured in overseas and imported back here. We need to bring those jobs back in all aspects. Dalton's the carpet capital of the world. We need to be able to manufacture every aspect of that floor covering, that all components that go into that is manufactured here, not imported parts. So that would strengthen the ability to continue manufacturing and grow communities. And also, if we're not having to import those things, we have a better economic base in our communities to support family.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would love to make as much as we can here at home, rather than source it elsewhere, including labor too. You've heard people talk about deportations and whatnot, and there we go, deportations and whatnot, and we see, people say, well, if we get rid of the illegals, like, what's that going to do to the costs of business and doing business, et cetera, and things, and it's like, well, but don't you want Americans to work in these jobs to earn that living wage so that things are more affordable for them? Like, isn't that the goal? Isn't that what America First is supposed to look like, Jim? Isn't that like, we always say it, we hear it in the campaign trail, hire American, buy American, America First. Isn't that like essentially like the staples of the America First movement, relying on us to do our own jobs?
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, Georgia families first, Georgia first, America first, American tax dollars to support American initiatives. We've got to clean up our houses. We've got to understand where our money goes, where it comes from. It comes from the American taxpayer. Where is it going, and why are we allowing this free-flowing cash into industrial complex to not benefit the American family? So I like to call myself a Christian American foundationalist, because I think we need to get back to the basics of where we came from, where our grandparents and great-grandparents, where they were successful in building the society up to what we have today, the greatest country on the face of the earth. And we've kind of lost that aspect of the American family, and that education, the American family, and a merit-based society. You only get back what you put in. That's where success originates, and that's how it's gauged.
Yeah, that's why I love sports so much, Jim, because it's like it is the epitome of a merit-based system, right? The best players are the starters, your second best players are on the bench, and then, down to the lower depths of the depth chart is where you have folks who haven't earned the ability to get that much playing time. And I feel like that's what we got to get back to. And President Trump, by ending DEI, essentially, right? That's what we are getting back to. You're no longer picked because of what you look like. You're picked because of what you've demonstrated you can do. And that leads me to this next question, right? Is that you've had an extensive career in politics, but I wouldn't say you're like a career politician, like a Gavin Newsom, one of these smarmy, polished, we've talked a few times, down to earth. We have a few mutual friends, who I happen to trust a lot. I hold them in very high regard. They're like, you got to talk to this Jim Tully. He's one of us. And I said, that's great. But you've had an experience working in the House of Representatives, right? So you're not just coming into this thing totally green, which is good for voters to understand that, you know how the system works. Why don't we get into a little bit of that? What have you seen? What have you done in the U.S. House of Representatives in your career?
Yeah. So I'm a career member of my community. That's what I am. I don't close the door at night and forget about my neighbor. It is completely necessary to understand what's going on next door and the door down from that, 4 doors. It's completely necessary. And I have spent my life building those relationships. When I was approached to go to work in the United States House of Representatives, it was solely based on that experience. My reputation of working in the community. That's what got their attention. And I brought that unique thought process to the office to say, these are the things, these are the foundational, there's that word again, these are the foundational things that people in the district are talking about. They're talking about immigrants not conforming to American policy and American law. That was upsetting. That's upsetting to anybody. It's almost like somebody moving into your neighborhood and setting up shop in their front yard with a junkyard. It just doesn't work. And those aspects of American life were being overrun by people that didn't want to be part of the community. To talk about those things in terms of employment, manufacturing, job providers versus available labor, what was happening, you mentioned DEI, what made Americans become a dependent society. That's not a career choice, but we have made it one, and we have folks that have made a lifestyle out of being dependent on taxpayers. Sean, I have to reiterate, it's the foundation of who we are. I have nothing lofty to tell you other than it's all about the people that live, work, and pray here. See, I think that one nation under God, by the people, for the people, really means something, and we've lost it. The title of your show, Ungoverned, that's real.
Yeah,
we have allowed ourselves to become ungoverned by lack of participation, because whether it was political correctness, you can't say that because you'll offend somebody. Well,
right,
Sean, they're offending us.
Yes,
In every word, every deed, every action, they are offending an American family, and it's time that we stopped allowing that to happen.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, working in the House, understanding who the other members are, the processes, what's expected. That's very tricky. I think sometimes you're expected just to become part of the process.
Right.
And that makes us ungoverned, doesn't it?
Well, yes, and if you become a part of the process, sometimes you're not a part of the solution at times.
You're part of their solution.
Right. And not a part of the solution of the people who are paying you, the people who sent you to represent them. I feel like sometimes we kind of get crossed up. Like, what is the responsibility of a congressman or a congresswoman, a representative? And that is to represent the interests of your district. I never see anymore representatives, take a poll of an issue in their district or have a town hall and invite everybody, left, right, up, down. If you're a space alien from Mars, but you're a legal resident in the United States and you live in that district and, you're paying taxes, right? It's like, you represent them too. And so I feel like we've kind of disconnected with that a little bit. That's what the founders wanted. You're supposed to represent the people who vote for you, who send you to Congress to be a public servant. It's like I always say when I by the way, it's a two-way street. The people have to, you mentioned participation, the people have to participate too, right? So it's like if you go to a restaurant and you order a steak and they ask you, how do you want it cooked? You don't say, surprise me. You put your order in and they serve you the steak. And this is what the people are supposed to do as well. It's supposed to be a part of the process, right? So that we are governed by the people for the people. And that's one of the things that that I think is missing from the process right now. We spoke, and you've had a bit of a tenure as a local, almost grassroots activist, if I remember correctly. Some rallies and parades and whatnot that you've taken initiative locally in the community, have made a lot of connections that way. Why don't we get into a little bit of what you did there? Because I did some things very, very similar to that too. When I lived on Long Island, but kind of give us a little bit 30,000-foot view of that part of your political career, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, so it's stand in the doorway because nobody else will stand in the doorway. So COVID closed down cities. They wanted us to stay at home. I didn't stay at home. My family didn't stay at home. And one particular instance was the 4th of July. My local 4th of July parade was canceled. And it really upset me. So I had 4 or 5 American flags around the house, and I grabbed my wife and my daughter, and I called my buddy that I've known for 50 years, and he brought his family. We met in downtown Dallas, and we had our own 4th of July parade because it was necessary for people to see that we would do it, we could do it, and we should do it. That test of obedience was just not going to go over to some people, and I didn't let it go over to me. I stood in support of medical freedom in front of some of the biggest hospitals in Georgia and made sure that the people understood they had a choice. It wasn't the medical complex's choice. It was their choice, by the people, for the people, at its simplest form. And without people participating in society, all we have is government. All we have is dependency. And in my desire to run for this seat that belongs to the citizens of Georgia 14, I only desire to represent them. No, it's not about me. It's never been about me. Nothing in my life has ever been about Jim Tully. It's always been about my community. And I found that when the Congresswoman resigned and she dropped that staff at my feet, I didn't hesitate to pick it up because I knew somebody else was going to try to, and I know who they are. We all know who they are.
Right.
And unwilling to let that happen. GOP affiliations, I was the county party and the Republican Party here in my county. I was the district chairman, RNC delegate. I love my community, and I love freedom. I love kids. I love the elderly. I love veterans. I love everybody that I meet. Don't burn any bridges. I accumulate these associations and friendships because, remember I said Christian American foundationalist, well, the Christian portion of that says, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as you love yourself. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
And that's a refreshing thing to hear. It is a refreshing thing to hear from somebody running for office, I'll tell you. Because most people they'll give you some blanket statement about how, we have to fix this. I'm going to fight for the president. I'm going to fight. And I love the president. Don't get me wrong. But I love hearing that, you're focused on the people who are sending you to Congress. That is how this is supposed to work. That is the way the system was designed to work. And that's the way more people need to treat these jobs. There's a lot of folks who wind up going to D.C. They don't represent the people anymore. They represent themselves. You've got people representing their stock portfolios. You've got folks who are, selling out to the highest bidder or donor so that they get those donations again in 2 more years. Yeah. And you sound like that's not the way you're going to conduct business. So let me ask you this. So you've been kind of working at this now, obviously, ever since the resignation, January 5th. The news came out a little earlier than that, but that was the Congresswoman's last day in office. The former representative of Georgia's 14th district. What have you been doing in the community, and how has the reception been with the folks who you already have a relationship with because you're a community man? What is the relationship with? How's the enthusiasm? How's the campaign? What are some of the great experiences you've had, but also some of the challenges that you're also having?
Oh, wow. So she announced her resignation on November 21st.
Yep.
That was my birthday, so that was a wild phone call to get.
Wait, that's your actual
So
birthday? Is
yeah,
November
it's my
21st?
birthday. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, it's my birthday, and I joke that I've had my grandkids blow out my candles on my birthday cake before, but I've never had a congresswoman, so now I have. So there's that. But I wish Marjorie all the luck. I pray for her and her family, and she's doing the best that she knows to do for herself, and that's what Americans get to do. So. Um, she did her deal in the United States House. She vacated the seat, and it's our responsibility to pick it up and represent the people of the district, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Um, when I announced, which was before Thanksgiving, because I couldn't allow just the conversation to happen at dinner tables and have no resolution to that. So I announced almost instantly that I was going to run for the seat, and I got phone calls saying thank you. We hoped that it would be you when we heard, and that continues to today, Sean. Yesterday, I met with probably 60 different individuals. With it, I was touched at the heartfelt, real responses that I got from people, just because I was real with them. There's nothing canned here. I'm not telling you that I'm going to go up and I'm going to attack the establishment and I'm going to this and I'm going to tell the or the Democrats in the House and the Senate where to and what for and where to get off. That's not how this works. It never has been how this works, but apparently that's what we think we're supposed to do.
Right.
So I'm going to put the Georgia team back together because the districts in in Georgia, they're supposed to work together as a delegation. And if we present ourselves together as Georgia House members, then that really gives us a little bit better position. So I've had those conversations, and that's what I intend to do. Some of the most concerning things is personal attacks. You say you're a Christian, those things.
Right.
They're really disturbing. Or Jim, folks think you're fake, and I say, but you know me, right? And they say,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Do you defend me? Oh no, I don't want to be involved in that. See, those are the disparaging things that this political correctness. They're that I don't want to be involved. Well, good grief. The other side's involved with marching down the street and attacking police and putting our children in harm's way, asking them to walk out of school and protest law enforcement. Now we're talking about children.
Yeah.
I thought they did that in foreign lands where they use hospitals and schools as human shields. So
Yep.
now we have the lunatic left in this country using our children on American soil to do the same thing. But I don't want to offend anybody, Sean.
Right. Right.
They better get comfortable saying things that are offensive, like "hell no, you can't
Right.
do that anymore." Right?
100%. And I'm very happy you actually made that comparison a couple weeks ago. I was like, it's kind of weird. The American left and some of the tactics that they're using, right? You mentioned, hospitals and schools and human shields. I was like, this kind of sounds very similar to like what the terror groups do in some of those places that, does anyone out there like, yeah, wow, this sounds real similar. So you bring up the same thing, and this is great, because I'm sitting there going, wow, I said the same thing. I'm not the only one who believes these things.
No. They think we're dumb, but we're not.
No, we're not dumb. And that's the best part about all of this. We're not dumb. We're well-versed. We're read in. We understand what's going on. And that's why it's refreshing to kind of hear, I say one thing on my show, you say something else, you're running for office. This is the way the system is supposed to work. And I'm excited to see how far this goes. Let me ask you this. You've got obviously a lot of connections in the community. You've had those connections for a while. You've been a community guy for a long time. What is it? What are we looking at in terms of a schedule now? When is the primary? When is the general? How does all this stuff work? Because I know every district is different the way it works.
Oh, wow. I'm 13 days away from early voting.
Okay, wow.
February 16th and election day, March 10th. Yeah, it's incredibly fast. It seems like it's been a blink, and here we are today. And that's a thing. The mainstream news moves so fast. when Marjorie resigned, it happened in a flash. And I'm knocking on doors and talking to people in grocery stores and hardware stores, and they're unaware that there's a vacancy. So we're out knocking on doors and making contact with voters and letting them know that we're running. And it's amazing to me that they are completely unaware at times that there's a vacancy in the seat, that there's a special election coming. And we talked about this earlier, voter fatigue.
Right.
That there's so we know, you and I know that it happens every 2 years, but it has been talked about so much, and you get elected and you immediately start a new campaign for the following election cycle. And I just tell folks that you spend all this time every week going to pick up a Starbucks coffee. You should just check and run by and vote too, because that takes less time in Georgia's election month than it does to pick up your Starbucks. So, make this a priority in our lives as Americans. It's our most powerful tool to help manage the ungoverned and change that to properly governed. Is the vote. It's the marquee of freedom, is the vote. And folks think that it's useless. They just don't prioritize their involvement in their government, bottom up, in their community, city councils, county commissions, school boards, state government, federal government. They don't involve themselves, and that's a shame. That's right. The foundational part we're trying to get back.
And we saw what happened in Texas Senate District 9. A lot of people didn't know about it. It was cold. All of a sudden, Democrat flips the seat because there wasn't enough awareness. It's refreshing to hear that you're knocking on doors and making those real connections with people. Say, hey, this is what's going on. So you said you're, 13 days away from early voting. What happens in the primary? Is this one of these jungle primaries where it's just everybody runs, there's no party, or is it a two-party primary and then you go into a general or a runoff? How does it work?
Yeah, it's one of the problems in Georgia. This special election is a jungle primary, which means that Republicans, Democrats, independents, and whatever can get in this race, and everybody runs together. 50% plus one wins outright, or the top two move on to a runoff. So we have a couple of Democrats, an independent, a libertarian, and 16 now Republicans, although that 17th one, his name will still be on the ballot because they paid the qualifying fee. That's another little issue. Georgia isn't a declared state, so we don't pick a party and stick with it. We are able to, in a regular primary, cross over. So, the other side could cross over and vote en masse for a weak candidate and, in effect, progress them onto a runoff ballot. And so Georgia has still a lot of things going on with their elections that need to be solved. And one of them is a jungle primary issue. It needs to be partisan. It needs to be separated. And then we need to be able to declare parties so we don't have this crossover primary issue in another style election.
Gotcha. And final question here. What is the best way for people to support you? Obviously, if you're in Georgia 14, get involved with the campaign, go knock on some doors, go meet Jim, talk to him and get to know him. And if he's the right guy for you, join the campaign and bring that same enthusiasm that he's brought here in this whole conversation. But what about folks outside of the district, folks like myself, folks like, some of the people who are going to be listening here from, all 50 states? What's the best way they can support you, the best way they can help you out?
Yeah, they can reach me at my website, Jim Tully for Georgia, the word spelled out, FOR, JimTullyForGeorgia.com. They can reach me there. My phone number's there. There'll be a link that they can send me a message. The biggest thing that I ask people to do, Sean, is to pray for me. I'm certainly praying for this nation. I'm praying for our leaders. I'm praying for our community members. That power. We have folks all around the world praying for us all the time, because also, here we go, that foundational thing. The book says, pray without ceasing. And it's just who we are as a people. And I'm not going to let them run over us anymore. I'm going to tell them like it is. I love my neighbor. I might not turn the other cheek because the meek also have the roar of a lion.
Yeah.
And when we come together as a society of free Americans that believe in one nation under God, by the people, for the people, and the foundational aspects of who we are, then we win again.
Agreed.
God, the country wins. And
That's
those
right.
things are important. So pray for me, and I'll pray for you. Come to my website. Make contact with me through that. I have a Facebook page too, Jim Tully for Georgia. Come see us. We're glad to talk to everybody. We're so excited. I have had this much fun in years. I told somebody the other day that I was 3 years old, found out I was going to get to meet Santa Claus. That's this kind of thing for me. I really, really am enjoying meeting all these people.
Well, best of luck to you in this campaign. And by the way, for everybody listening, we asked the best way that you could support them. Almost every other politician or political candidate that's come on this show has said donate. Jim Tully said pray. So that tells you a lot about who he is. That stands out a lot to me. So best of luck in this primary. If you guys want to support him, pray for him. And head over to the website, Jim Tully for Georgia, spelled out completely. You see it rotating on the screen, JimTullyForGeorgia.com. Best of luck in this campaign, Jim, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Sean. God bless you.
You too. All right, that was our interview with Jim Tully. He is running to be the next congressman out of Georgia's 14th congressional district. Special election coming up, primary coming up, 13 days, or actually now we recorded that a couple days ago. So now we're 11 days away from early voting there. And again, it's something notable, right? It's pretty interesting. I've had a number of candidates on. What's the best way to support? You could send me anything. No donation is too small. Blah blah blah. He didn't ask for money once, which I think is, I think that's everything. That's cool, and that's what politics should be. Don't just send money. I mean, that's a good way to support him too. If you want to send him money, send him money. JimTullyForGeorgia.com. But he did ask for your prayers, and so if you enjoyed that, go ahead and pray for Jim Tully. All right, we're going to move into some other issues, some of the news from yesterday, some of the biggest things that are going on right now in Minneapolis, some of the stuff going on in Congress, this Dignity Act. We got to take a look at this. It's disgusting. And then if we have a chance, I don't know if you saw Scott Bessent. He absolutely nuked Maxine Waters yesterday in a congressional hearing. But before we get to that, I want to get to a word from our friends at Silent. It's slnt.com/Sean, slnt.com/Sean. Let's face it. Your phone is a tracking device. Between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even cyber criminals, they're all fighting for a piece of your digital footprint, and they don't ask. They just go on and take it. That is why Silent exists. Silent makes Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. No signal means no tracking, no remote access, and no breadcrumbs. This is the same technology trusted by special ops teams around the world, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, that technology is available to you to protect your family, protect your freedom, and secure your digital footprint. All you got to do when you have a Silent product is drop your phone in that sleeve, the Silent Faraday sleeve, and it's off the grid. It's completely silent. It's invisible to the outside world. From their backpacks to their sleeves to their cross bodies, Silent's patented technology gives you control of your privacy. Just visit slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN, to save 15% and get free shipping on qualifying orders. That is Silent, slnt.com/Sean. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com, slnt.com. Silence the chaos and go silent today. That's slnt.com/SHAWN. All right. What'd you think of Jim Tully? You guys, I saw a lot of people saying, "Hey, we like this guy. He's a nice guy." Seems like a guy that would get to Congress and stay humble, and
he seems like a really sweet fellow.
That's the most important thing. All right, we are. I see our Bev Mo saying 808. Is that true? Can we verify?
Yep.
Are we in Mo? All right, good, very good. There it is. There it is. There it is. All right.
Good morning, Mo.
Good morning, Mo. Mo says good morning to everybody. You get us to 900, folks, and we have MAGA Mo waiting in the wings. I also know I forgot to do my Billie Eilish thing yesterday. We were kind of busy. And then I got a really bad headache, and I was like, I can't do this. So I am still planning on doing something like that. Also planning on doing something for the Super Bowl, the halftime show. Bad Bunny, they call him Bad Bunny. I call him a nasty rabbit. I want you to think of it as a nasty person. And I got along well with a lot of rabbits, like Bugs Bunny, who plays every position in baseball. I got along well with Roger Rabbit. Somebody framed him as a complete and total witch hunt. So we have some ideas there. All right. Minneapolis. You guys notice it's been pretty quiet? Have you noticed that? Things have quieted down. It's out of the news cycle now, right? And I'm very happy because it was like 50 plus days of just Minnesota. I was like, all right. Look, we got to do something here. So I see a lot of people and they're saying, oh, Donald Trump, he's, and look, I wasn't thrilled with the Bovino stuff, but like I said, you could do worse than Tom Homan. Let's see how it plays out. And it's playing out, I think, pretty well. It's out of the news cycle. There's apparently, according to Tom Homan, who I trust, I have no reason to distrust him or not trust him. Tom Homan, according to him, there's been an unprecedented level of cooperation between local officials, state officials, and federal officials. So let's hear from the Homanator himself, because I saw a lot this morning. Trump is caving on immigration. No, he's not. I mean, where do some of these people come up with this? Trump is caving on immigration. Kash Patel is a seller. Where do some of these people come up with these ideas? Is it just like I'm gonna just do like the old Howard Stern and just say something outrageous to get attention some days? Is that what happens? I don't know. But here's Tom Homan talking about Minneapolis. Listen.
Before they release him, they don't hold him 1 minute past they normally would. Given this increase in unprecedented collaboration, and as a result of the need for less law enforcement officers to do this work in a safer environment, I have announced effective immediately, we will draw down 700 people effective today. 700 law enforcement personnel. We have also fully integrated CBP personnel into the ICRO team structure under one unified chain of command. Not two chains of command, there'd be one chain of command here. Any large enforcement operation I've ever been involved with, there's one chain of command, and that's where we're moving forward. During my press conference last week, I announced that moving forward, ICE will be conducting targeted immigration enforcement operations, like ICE has traditionally done for decades, based on reasonable suspicion to question and detain. ICE will
Unprecedented cooperation with the federal government. That's exactly what Donald Trump was looking for. They've gotten, I think, as many as 4,000 illegal aliens out of Minnesota since that surge began. And now they're getting their illegal alien criminals out of the jail. So you don't need ICE to be hanging around in Minnesota, right? It's not a retreat. It's not a surrender. It's, as he said, a drawdown. You don't need them there now because of the cooperation. You can now send them to some city that's not cooperating and make them capitulate as well. That's not spin. This is what's happening. But Sean, I don't care what someone said. That's what's going on. To someone that you're hearing from, whether, I don't know who it might be, that says, no, that's not what's going on. They don't have information. And they are not a better source of information than Tom Homan. Okay? Next. Tom Homan says that these, they were constructing these autonomous zones, the roadblocks, right, to impede ICE. This is one of my favorite clips of the day yesterday, and there were a lot of good ones. This is Tom Homan saying, "Oh, you're gonna make what, roadblocks? Yeah, okay."
As far as what I saw yesterday with the roadblocks being set up, you're not going to stop ICE. You're not going to stop Border Patrol. The only thing you're doing is irritating your community and want to go get groceries or pick their children up or whatever. I talked to the chief of police, and he committed to taking swift action on those illegal roadblocks. They're illegal. We shouldn't tolerate them. Again, a complete drawdown is going to depend on the cooperation, continued cooperation of local and state law enforcement, and the decrease of the violence, the rhetoric, and the attacks against ICE and Border Patrol.
Yeah, you got roadblocks? Yeah, that's not going to stop us. We'll just go around them. Local police taking those roadblocks down. That happened. As a matter of fact, yesterday we had a story I was going to get to. I didn't get to it, though. But this actually happened. Folks, there's an article. It happened. Nothing's happening. This is happening. The anti-ICE crew is not happy because the local police are now busting up their quote-unquote checkpoints. Am I missing something? So Tom Homan stepped in. He's running point, one unified chain of command, streamlining the process, and things are happening there. It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I think I heard Dan talking about this yesterday, right? Bongino saying that, Just because you take 10 steps forward and then you give 3 steps back, but then you take another 2 steps forward. So now you're at, 9, and then you take another 2 steps back, but then you take, another 3 steps. You're back at 10. Sometimes you have to push and pull and push and pull. You ever watch football? It's a field position game. Sometimes you got to flip the field first, then get the short field, then go down the field, then score the touchdown. You can't score a touchdown on every play. You can't get a home run on hit a home run on every play. You've got to work the count sometimes. Sometimes you've got to take the walk. Sometimes you got to get hit by a pitch. It hurts, but you're on first base, right? So sometimes the other team makes an error. This is what you're watching here. It is the push and pull, the transactional nature of this president, this administration working with the states, and it is a war of attrition. It's a push and pull thing going on there. Here's Tom Homan one more time. This is not a surrender. And the final thing that he says in this clip is very important, and it makes me very happy. Listen.
I keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. We're not surrendering the president's mission on a mass deportation operation. If you're in the country illegally, if we find you, we'll deport you. But this is about target enforcement operation, and that's what we're going to be doing.
If you're in the country illegally and we find you, we will deport you. All, A-L-L. Deport every illegal alien. Every last one. Okay, Mike Lawler. Pay attention. We're going to get to him in a second because I don't want to break this segment up. So here's a word from our friends at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. And then I'm going to give you an initiative. We're going to give you some homework. There's a very bad bill that is being pushed through the House by the rhinos and the squishy class. Americans overwhelmingly support deporting every illegal alien. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. All of the rigged left-wing polls still find that to be the case. Deport them all. Triage, yes. Prioritize the worst first, 100%. Get those public safety threats out of the community. Don't just go to someone's house who's been there illegally, pull them out of that. If you go after the rapists, the drug lords, the gang members, the child traffickers, the sexual predators, the drug dealers, the murderers, the carjackers. Right? You go after the violent ones first. Fine, 100%. But once they're out, and if in that process you find a couple other ones, they go too. They're trying to push an amnesty bill through the House, and we cannot allow it to happen. And I want to be very clear. This is a congressional initiative. This is not an administration initiative. I saw people, Trump, you voted for mass deportations and he's backing. What? He's not pushing the bill through the House. It's like everybody wants to just blame Trump all of a sudden. Look, the guy's not perfect, but the amount of just people who are so quick to see, he sold you out. No, he didn't. What are you talking about? Let me get to a word from our friends at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA, and then I'm going to show you this nonsense that Mike Lawler's trying to push through the House of Representatives.
I'm sure by now you've heard that silver went up 160% last year, 2025. I bought this silver for $22 an ounce. It's now worth almost $100. And we and experts think that silver is going to get up to about $200 an ounce. Palladium and platinum were stuck at $900 an ounce for over a year, or in that area. Now they're up over $2,000. Gold is approaching $5,000 an ounce. If you have ever thought about putting some or all of your retirement or nest egg or savings or just buying bullion in precious metals, now's the time to do it. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Go leave your name, your email, and your phone number. Schedule a time to talk to the folks over at Golden Crest Metals. Get your free gold guide today, and make sure you tune in on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Crest Report, where we dive deep into precious metals, why they're doing what they're doing, and where we expect them to go. It is like insider trading. Nancy Pelosi knows about that. We don't. It's just inside information. It's not even really that. It's called knowledge. Get yours today and get a part of gold, silver, palladium, and platinum and diversify your portfolio today. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Thank you, Jeremy and Golden Crest, for being a part of the show. I want to get to what happened here with Will Cain and Mike Lawler yesterday. It was a debate. It was a cordial debate. We need more of this, not less. But here's Will Cain and Mike Lawler talking about this nonsense Dignity Act that they're trying to pass through the House of Representatives. Listen to this.
What this is really about is this, however you want to call it, legal status. I asked you, is it amnesty? But I'm going to move the conversation forward. Why? Why is it important to give those 25 million illegal immigrants a pathway to legal status?
Again, you're not giving the 25 million. You're giving a segment of that would fit into very specific criteria. Number one, they cannot have committed a crime in the United States or in their country of origin. Number two, they cannot collect government benefits, period. Number three, they have to pay all back taxes and a fine for coming into this country illegally and go through this process. Well,
what if they don't do any of that?
Then they're deported.
What if they don't do that?
Then they are deported.
They're deported.
You have to abide by the terms of this. And part of this, and I fundamentally believe, if you gave people an option to come out of the shadows, to stop hiding and skirting a legal process, if you gave them a process forward that forgoes any path to citizenship, they would take it.
But
they would take it in a heartbeat.
They came into this country illegally. Why are you offering this path to legal status? What is the benefit to the United States of America?
Because to your point that you just said, a lot of this is based on executive enforcement. And we saw under Joe Biden, I'm answering your question. We saw under Joe Biden a total lack of enforcement at our borders. They violated the asylum and parole process. They pretty much let everybody walk in.
Congressman, with all due respect, you're not answering the point of the question I'm asking about the legal status.
Will Cain obviously getting a little frustrated there. I was getting frustrated watching it. Here's the worst part of this entire response and exchange between Lawler and Will Cain. Lawler does not answer the question, and make no mistakes, folks. This is an amnesty bill and is unacceptable. Watch.
I hear you on border enforcement. We all agree on border enforcement. We disagree, you and I'm trying to do so respectfully and get a direct answer from you here on why. Why are you opposed to the deportation of people that came into this country illegally? Why do you feel like there must be a pathway to legal status for the people who are in this country illegally?
Because you have a segment of the population of people who came into this country illegally. Right, wrong, and different. People whose children and grandchildren are American citizens, who have been in this country for 10, 15, 20 years, who are participating in the workforce, who are contributing to the tax base, who are part of the community. You can dismiss it, but it's a reality of the situation. And you're not rounding up 25 million people and kicking them all out. That's just a reality of the situation.
I believe and think you and I should have a longer debate on this. And unfortunately, I'm already being told. Everybody always loves to grab this like I'm running for the debate, but I'm already being told because Lee Bryce is waiting in the wings to come talk.
I'm happy
and the
to
show
come
will
back
end.
anytime.
No, but here's the thing. Here, I am respectfully disagreeing with you on this front. You are creating an incentive. That's my belief, Congressman. If you get the Dignity Act passed, you are creating an incentive for rolling whatever word you want to use, amnesty, pathway to citizenship. I know you're not proposing that. Legal status. You're creating the continued incentive for illegal immigration. That's the problem here. We've seen it play out in reality.
Can I make one point to you? Number one, this would be a one-time fix. It would not be permitted moving forward. Number two, anybody coming into the country illegally from this point forward would never qualify for this. Number three, I think fundamentally, if you want to codify border policy, especially President Trump's border policy, if you want to codify things like the Save America Act that requires citizenship to vote, if you want to ensure that illegals are not being counted in the census for the purpose of representation, I think you can negotiate a path forward and get there. But the fact is, many of those bills that we all support and would champion would never become law passing the Senate. You need to find a legislative process
what would happen
forward.
if somebody didn't pay the taxes, didn't pay the fine? You said they'd be deported. You're going to be right in the same situation you are today with people freaking out on the streets and protesting over those deportations just as well.
There it is. Guys, I know that was a long clip. I don't like to play the long clips, but that was a very good exchange. I think Will Cain did a phenomenal job, by the way. pushing back on this nonsense. Okay, couple things. So Mike Lawler said on Will Cain yesterday. Couple things. Mike Lawler, this will be a one-time thing. It's not amnesty, but it's legal status. Well, we heard about a one-time thing under Ronald Reagan. 3 million illegal aliens were given amnesty, and now we're talking about something like that again. So it's not a one-time thing. It's never a one-time thing. It's never a one-time thing. That's number one. Number two, dignity. How is it dignified to reward lawbreaking? We're not rewarding lawbreaking. They're not going to become citizens. They came into the country illegally, and you are now allowing them to stay and obtain legal status in this country. You're rewarding lawbreaking. If I break into your house and I don't commit any other crime, I pay a little bit of the electric bill, I buy my own food, I cook my own food, I clean my own dishes, I pay for the water bill, I pay, part of your utilities, I pay part of your cable bill, but I broke into your house and I now live in your house. Is that okay? No, because I still broke into your house. I have no legal right to live in your home. It's not okay. There is no dignity in rewarding law breaking. None whatsoever. And then to say that, if someone comes in illegally after this bill, they won't qualify. You don't think you're setting a precedent for them to do this again for another group of people? You don't think this is going to get abused and spun up in such a way that it applies to more than who you just wanted to apply for? Absolutely not. We are not giving these people a path to citizenship. No. And that's what comes after this bill, by the way. We are not giving these people a pathway to legal status in this country. If you broke into the country, you broke the law. If you came into this country illegally, you broke the law. We do not reward law breaking. We do not reward criminal behavior. We used to under previous administrations. We don't anymore. So call your representative today and tell them, under no circumstances do you want your public servant to support the Dignity Act because it spits on, steps on, and tramples the dignity of the American people, the people who elected your representatives? There's no dignity in this. This is an amnesty bill, and it needs to be defeated. And then we need to salt the earth from where this whole thing came up from. We have to defeat the Dignity Act. They name them these things to make it look like, you're against dignity. No, I'm against amnesty. I'm against bullshit. And that's what that is. Jeremy Harrell coming up next.
We should trumpet all of them.
We're trying to trumpet Mike Lawler,
the
too.
Ones that
Mike Lawler, that rhino squish. I cannot stand him. And this idea of, we'll just carve out a little bit. We did this before, and look at where it got us. You fool me once, right? The whole thing? That's right. Don't make the same mistake. You repeat the same behaviors and expect different results. What does that make you? It makes you cuckoo for mother effing Cocoa Puffs. I'm not insane. Just a little crazy. All right. Jeremy Harrell up next here on LFA TV, rumble.com/LFA TV. It is almost time. Yeah, he's coming on for the next couple hours. I'll be on the Hannah Faulkner show today, too, by the way. Mm-hmm. We're going to be recording that, so that'll be a lot of fun. Jeremy Harrell up next as President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a tremendous rest of your Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Phone call Friday, second half of the show. You know how it goes. 631-527-4545. In the words of John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang, gavel. I think I'm going to be on Jeremy's show in his second hour as well. So very busy morning here. It'll be good. And then after that, I'm going for a run. I'm excited. But have a tremendous rest of your Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, Ungoverned, on any podcasting platform. It's totally free to hit subscribe. It helps us fly up the charts there. We're seeing a huge surge on the audio side, so we'd appreciate that. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Jeremy Harrell up next.